Hey everyone, we had a customer who had issues with our game. They beat the game, but then it froze right at the end, which is like the worst feeling as a game developer because they actually went through the effort to play the game, enjoy the game, but then it froze right at the very end, which is terrible. One theory is that maybe it's a faulty cart. Another theory is maybe it's just a bug. I could have just wrote a bug in the software. Either way, I have the cart, so let's figure out what the issue is. They were using a Pocket, thankfully. I have an analog Pocket as well. So let's see. First, I want to just see if I can reproduce the problem. So now we have the credits. So I think it freezes after the credits. So here's the end. Let's see what happens. So what should happen is it should show a total number of steps. It should kind of count up. And it does. No, wait. And it doesn't. So the screen loads, but where are the steps? Right, so that's interesting. So that could be a software bug. That could be a hardware bug. Well, let's figure it out. Right, now what? Well, I have this device. This is called a GBA cart RW. It's made by Inside Gadgets, and this is what allows us to connect carts to the computer. You can think of a cart kind of like a USB thumb drive or something, but just with a funny connector. Let's see if we can get this all hooked up. We'll go in the front, and then all I do is pop the cart in, and then there's a little, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little indicator there. But anyways, now to the software. So in here there's a command. This is the terminal, and I've already prepared the command, but that's it. I'm using a program called Flash GBX. So now we've got the cart digitally. If I look in here, got it right here. This is the file. Let's see if I can actually find the save file. So the save file should be at the end of this file. So if I XXD, what that does is just lets me inspect the file and a bunch of, these are all the bytes of the file. Oh, there it is. So this is the save. I recognize that this AA is a code that I used. This is the save file. It's very small because all it is doing is saving the password. So in the game, there's a password input. And there should actually be a second one. There's two copies of all the saves. So there's a backup. If I keep scrolling up, I should see it. So just so you know what you're looking at, these are addresses. So that you can think of these as offsets into the file. And I'm just going up by a page. So this program lets me see each individual byte of the file. There it is. There's the second save. Let's pull up Sublime. I'm going to copy this data out. So here are the two save files. They are backups of each other. How it works is that, like I said, there's these two blocks, and each of these blocks has 4 save files in it. So when you load the game, you'll notice there are only 3 files here. But in the background, there are actually 4 files. And then those 4 files are duplicated twice. So each of these blocks have 4 files in them. So what happens on save is that, let's say you're overwriting file 2. Well, we want file 3 to stay the same, we want file 1 to stay the same, and then this will becomes the backup. So it was file 2, and then this backup now becomes the new file 2. Right, so all I do when a save happens is I overwrite the backup slot, and then I mark the old slot as the backup slot. So these files kind of get shuffled around as you save things. My point is that there's a mapping, hopefully that's clear, between where it's stored in memory and the actual files that are displayed. And at any given time when you save, you're always overwriting the backup. And then the old save becomes the backup. And then on top of that, there's this extra complexity where the block of all files themselves is also backed up. So when I write to the cart, I'm actually writing all 4 files at once, but I don't want to overwrite the previous one because it might get corrupted. So I have a completely separate section, which is this one, these two sections. So there's multiple layers of backups is what we're dealing with here. So that's what we're looking at. Let's open this up. So this is just loading a normal GBA save file, which is going to match this data here. So I think I might be able to kind of alter this. And it's just extracting all this data, and then it's just going to print it all out. So this was an old program I wrote to help me debug save files, basically. So let's see. Data needs to be a bunch of bytes. So it should be like a bunch of bytes in here, it looks like. So let's throw these bytes in here. So we grab these and throw those in here. Obviously it's a mess right now. So we just have to change the syntax to get this working. And that. Okay, so now we have the data in this data variable, so we're not reading it off disk anymore. So now if I go into dev tile game 2, node save, what do I call it? Read save. Let's see what this does. Okay, so here it's printing out kind of those blocks like I said before. These were the options that were saved, the light level, the music level, sound effects level. So this save file looks correct to me. Like it seems valid. Everything makes sense. So the next thing is I could output this to a save file, right? What is normal.save, right? Oops. Let's look at that. So this is normal.save, so it looks like a normal save has just a bunch of F's at the end. But then at the very top, it's going to have that same data, right? So at the very top, this is a normal save file. This is the top of that file, right? So what I could do is I could just take this data and jam it at the top of here, and then this normal save file will be this data. So let's do that. Now there is a way to do that with XXD. So I think I just want XXD-R. Let's try that. Get rid of the P. And XXD G1. There we go. So this is correct, right? This is what I want to see. AA 0505 blah 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 AA00. So now we have the normal 2.save. This save file is what we want. So if we duplicate this ROM file and call this normal2, then when I open this, it should load normal2.save into the emulator. Let's see, and there's our save file. So we've loaded it into the emulator. Let's see if it freezes. It's working. Yeah, it's interesting. So this is the same save file, 14 out of 15. That's what we saw earlier when I was doing that binary conversion, right? There was a single 0, which means there was a single C creature that wasn't saved. So that's the end. So something is going on the cart because this save file seems valid. So I guess the easy version of this is I can just create a new ROM, stomp the end of that ROM with this save file, which I've already extracted, right? I can stomp this at the end at the correct locations, and then I can flash that ROM. And I think that will fix it for the customer. We have extracted the ROM file of this new cart. So you might be asking yourself, well, why not use the other ROM file and just flash it directly? There are actually 4 different ROM files depending on the hardware of the cart. So I didn't know which hardware this particular cart is. So there's different ways to solve that. One, I could have just said screw it and flashed it and tested it, and maybe that would work fine. The other way is just to rip this one, because I know that this one works. Stop the save, and then flash it back, which is what I'm going to do. Anyways, so we can XXD, G1, this new Inky, where'd it go? Oh, it's inside this directory now. So I've kind of got messed up directories. So we're going to output this to good.txt, or let's call it a pre-save, or let's call it new save, new saves. The hardest part in computer science is naming. Let's just call it good.txt. Okay. So now we have good.txt inside of here. So there's the ROM file. There's good.txt. We'll have to load this up. So now we should, at the very, so this is the game, right? This is all the data for the game, so it's actually a pretty long file. But here at the bottom, there's going to be some locations, like I said before. So these different carts have different block sizes. So FE0. So this block size is different. That's another reason. Actually, I didn't consider that before, but that's another reason I should be using this method, is because these backup files are saved in different blocks, and these carts have different block sizes. So that the game will query the cart for the block size and then put it in the right location so that the backups work. So anyways, we have one in FE, which means we probably have one. Okay, there's the other save. And for that, we're going to grab this one and plop this here. Boink. So if I save good.txt, took a while to save because it's a big file, and then we just reverse this into, so this is good.txt, and we'll just call it good.gba. And then if it takes a while, xxd g1 good.gba. So what I have done now is I have embedded the previous save file into this good.gba ROM file. Now the only thing left is to flash that. So let's try the GB operator. So the GB operator is basically the same thing, right? It's a way to plug in a cart to your computer. Now all I need to do is unplug this and plug this in. And now we're using the GB operator. Okay. The light is on. GB operator, okay. Data. Upload homebrew. And then now we just grab good.gba u. Let's see. Okay, well, it looked like it finished. So, let's see if it works. Hey, we're working. Okay, we'll load the save. There it is. Yay. Will it freeze? Moment of truth. Yay, it's working. Boom. Okay, I'll pack it up and I'll send it back to that customer, and I'm sure he'll be thrilled. All right, thanks for watching, y'all.